And the immediate direct threat right now is something that's virtually invisible. You can't necessarily see it or taste it. Old lead pipes like this one, buried underground, some more than a century old, are bringing a known toxin directly into people's homes and their lives.
Benton Harbor, on the beautiful but icy shore of Lake Michigan, seems like one of the most unlikely places on Earth to be struggling to provide clean, safe drinking water to its residents. The city is just under 4.5 square miles and virtually surrounded by fresh water. Lake Michigan to the west, the St. Joseph River to the south, and the Paw Paw River to the north. Inside city limits, every house, apartment, school, church, and business is being affected by the threat of toxic water caused by old lead pipes, eventually connecting to Benton Harbor's aging water plant, nestled in the sand dunes near Gene Clock Park.
Water is a part of life, and right now we can't use ours.
Shaniqua McKinney has 3 boys at home, ages 15, 13, and 11, who love to play basketball. They stopped drinking and cooking with their Benton Harbor City tap water in October, when the state put out its strongest warning about the elevated levels of lead discovered in 10% or more of the homes in the city tested over the past 3 years.
Tell me about your concerns for your boys if they've been drinking that water since they were kids.
Sick to my stomach, Brian. I'm like, oh, the kids. And you know what? My youngest son kept complaining about stomach aches. Knowing lead isn't supposed to be into your system, I'm not really sure, what it can do to you as far as, but I know it's a health issue.
Free lead testing Monday through Friday, as long as the clinic is open.
Robin Galladay is a registered nurse at the Intercare Community Health Network, now offering free lead testing for all Benton Harbor children and adults. The growing nonprofit primary care provider is at the corner of M139 and Empire Avenue, just outside the city lines. Because of the pandemic precautions still in place at all Michigan healthcare facilities, Ms. Galladay only agreed to sit down with us without face coverings if we were socially distanced, at least 6 feet apart.
You comfortable taking off the masks?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
She sees patients and parents every single day, worried about COVID, and now possible lead poisoning too.
People think of lead only in paint, or paint chips off the window sills and things. They don't think of lead in water, so it's just a little bit different beast. It's dangerous, period. You don't want to consume lead. Who wants to do that? And then if you're consuming it unknowingly.
And for busy moms like Shaniqua, her tap water and trying to avoid it is causing major concerns and disruptions.
How difficult has it been for you on a day-to-day basis? How many things have you had to change since they said don't use the tap water?
Almost everything, basically. I mean, in your daily routine. It's a delay in everything. Could be a day you don't have any more water, and then you got to run and go see who's open and who has some. Maybe stand in line or in your car, of course, for 2 to 3 hours or however long it takes to get the water. Got to brush your teeth with it. Baths, cooking for the most part. It is mind-boggling to wash your dishes. Like, you're using a case of water almost every hour.
And with 3 growing sons to feed, she needs them to step up and help out at times.
I'm hollering at them all day while I'm cooking. Bring me another bottle, bring me another bottle. What can you do without water? We can't live, and it's terrible that we can't drink it. Because you gotta stay safe. So, what do you do about it?
So what do you do about it? Benton Harbor residents are being asked specifically not to do several things right now. No cooking, drinking, or brushing your teeth with the tap water. And no making baby formula with it either. And do not boil the tap water. That can make any lead contamination much more concentrated in it, according to the EPA and the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
It has been a great concern for the families here.
Local doctors are very worried about the long-term consequences of lead exposure on children, including Intercare Medical Director Dr. Lisa Fink, who's worked in the community for more than 20 years.
As a pediatrician, the concerns are the effects that the lead would have on the brain, and it can have, even just small amounts of lead can have toxic effects to the brain as it develops. So of course we are looking at it especially in young children, especially children who are still having brain development in their infancy and into young childhood, preschool ages.
What should parents look for if they fear lead poisoning in their kids?
Yeah. Well, the insidious findings would be more behavioral in nature. Learning disabilities can develop, attention issues can develop, anger management kind of things and impulse reactions, extreme temper tantrums, the difficulty with learning. Those are more subtle to find.
The elevated lead levels, though, are not so subtle. Since 2018, 10% or more of Benton Harbor's homes tested above the EPA's lead exceedance level of 15 parts per billion in the tap water. The 90th percentile going as high as 32 parts per billion. And one home came in at 889 ppb last June. That's more than 59 times higher than the EPA action level, and higher than any home tested in Flint, Michigan, at the height of its own multi-year water crisis.
You know, the 889 parts per billion. That number went all over the world.
About 200 yards from the currently ice-covered shoreline of Lake Michigan, at the south end of Gene Clock Park, you'll find the nearly 70-year-old Art Deco building housing the Benton Harbor water filtration plant.
Is the water coming out of this building safe to drink? Is it when it leaves here?
Where it's not the water source, where the contamination is, it's in the infrastructure. The issue that we've had with the EPA and Eagle, has been the maintenance and the improvements of a facility that was built in 1954.
Bottom line, the water coming out of this plant is safe when it leaves.
Correct.
Benton Harbor Mayor Marcus Muhammad gave ABC 57 News a brief tour of the facility, recently hit with dozens of violations by the Environmental Protection Agency. But because of security restrictions, we were not allowed to record the plant's machinery, pumps, or other inner workings. Mayor Muhammad understands the bitter irony in a city getting its drinking water directly from one of the pristine Great Lakes and being unable to use it safely.
Lake Michigan, I think of all of them, has the freshest water source. So, how can Benton Harbor have a water crisis?
The EPA came in and found violations, obviously.
It's a real complex issue. But the thing about it is we're working with the EPA, we're working with Eagle to correct any things that need to be corrected.
In fact, beyond the excessive lead levels found in more than 10% of all Benton Harbor homes sampled over the past 3 years, there are a laundry list of problems and technical violations at the water plant itself, laid out in this unilateral EPA administrative order issued last November.
A joint inspection by the EPA and the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy found the city and the water plant are not properly monitoring all the equipment, not testing for contaminants as often as they should, or reporting changes in chlorine levels, and even notifying the public.
In 2018, we held a press conference the very day after we were notified. And we contacted Barron County Health Department, front page of the Herald Palladium. Benton Harbor notifies residents of lead exceedances.
But technically, the city did not meet the federal standards on exactly when and how all those mandatory notifications went out. The EPA order declaring, quote, failure to provide information notifying customers that the system has found high levels of lead in each water bill during the 12 months prior between August 2020 and August 2021 is a violation, and threatening to impose, quote, a penalty up to $59,017 per day per violation. but so far no fines have been issued. Mayor Muhammad maintains the city was transparent, and the Berrien County Health Department handed out nearly 3,000 water filters to residents all across the city since the elevated lead levels were first confirmed in 2018. The mayor is still facing a potential recall election over those notifications, though, but several petitions were dismissed due to technical errors and misinformation.
It's just totally asinine, and it's false to say that we didn't notify residents. How do you give out 2,800 filters and nobody has been notified? It don't add up.
The solution to the Benton Harbor water crisis is already unfolding, noisily on Bus Avenue. ABC 57 News got an up-close view of the work being done in February, despite all the cold, snow, ice, slush, and mud. Meeks Construction, a black-owned company based in Benton Harbor, got the first contract to locate, dig up, and if necessary, replace hundreds of decaying lead and galvanized pipes underground, some of them more than 100 years old. In March, 5 more contractors will join them, marking the water service lines, cutting concrete, sawing streets, and digging down to literally get the lead out. Lots and lots of digging.
The final completion date of the project is April of 2023.
Jason Marquardt is the senior project manager at Abbenmarsh, the Benton Harbor engineering firm overseeing the complicated effort, and the deadline set by Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer, who checked on the work firsthand last fall.
So you're confident we can get this done in that 18 months?
Contractors have an incentive based on a number of days prior to the final completion date that they would be awarded an incentive bonus on completing early.
But before the construction crews can get down in the trenches to do the work, homeowners, landlords, and tenants have to sign an agreement to allow them legal access.
How important is that step?
So for the contractor to replace the service line on private property, they need what we call a right of entry agreement. So that's important, otherwise the contractor really can't complete their work.
To help make sure those documents actually get signed and the work gets done on time, at no cost to the residents themselves, the city recently changed the law, and residents must now sign those agreements or face possible fines, even jail time.
So this is now going up and outside, or does it go up there?
It goes boom and outside.
Giving consent was not an issue for Benny Williams. He welcomed the workers and our ABC 57 camera down into his very dark basement on Bus Avenue. The crew using their own strength at times to literally help pull a clean new copper pipe through the cinder block wall and then get it connected.
The pipe they took out, I'm so rusty. Oh my gosh, we bathed in that.
Do you feel safer now that this is happening?
Well, I might stay away from water until it's fully completed. Everybody, and then do a full flush.
Until every home, even vacant or abandoned, is complete, volunteers will keep giving out thousands of cases of bottled water for free every week, putting them right into cars in the parking lot behind the Benton Harbor High School football field.
It's been a great thing that we're doing this, and it's a solution being made to the problem, because if we didn't have a solution or this system or the drop-off system, people would be really suffering right now.
Volunteers from multiple local churches, many of them paid $20 an hour by the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, are loading vans from floor to ceiling, then hitting the streets, going door to door, handing out cases of water just like teams did in another mostly minority city in Michigan.
Benton Harbor is not Flint 2.0.
But Mayor Marcus Muhammad bristles when people call Benton Harbor the new Flint.
Totally different circumstance, where in Flint, the local government voted under the thumb of the emergency manager to change the water source to the Flint River, which totally exacerbated and intensified the lead issue there.
Nobody's done that here.
Nobody has done that here.
Though emergency managers did lay off half the workers at the Benton Harbor water plant years ago when both Benton Township and St. Joseph Township left the city water system, drastically cutting revenue. For his part, the mayor believes all the streets being cut open, all the yards being dug up, and all the work being done will eventually be well worth the trouble.
Out of this negative, something very positive is taking place, and it's gonna make Benton Harbor stronger and better in the future.
You can track the progress of the lead line replacement project here in Benton Harbor, read the EPA's order to improve the water plant itself, and 11,000 more pages of documents released under the Freedom of Information Act by the state on our website at abc57.com. And because nearly every city in America has aging infrastructure and old lead pipes, you may be asking one day, what's in your water?